Hi, this is Steve here. I want to do a quick video. I'm trying to make it quick, but sometimes I don't turn it that I'm long-winded. But I know a few people have been asking, and I'm gonna try to go through this relatively quickly. I've already sorted out the few markets to look at, um, and I made a new thing. That's what I've been working on this whole week with numbers here, and just trying to tweak this. This is different than the last video you saw just last week. Somebody brought up some suggestions, which I thought were great. And next thing you know, I'm coding again for hours and hours and hours. Anyway, so I've tweaked this latest chart a little bit. Just to give you an overview of what this is. Um, right here are the session hours. I mean, obviously it's every half hour. These are session hours. This number right here is going to show the session hours only. This total over here is going to show you the total. So it's always going to be, for the most part, negative because it's always pulling out the riffraff from, terrible hours. But surprisingly, there are some good hours in here if you dive into certain things. But needless to say, this is the total time and this is the session hour time. So those are what you have to look at. I've got all these height of the day, today's day, just your current day sheet, and then January, and the only one I'm having showing is December. That's down here in the settings. If I change that to show all, regardless of what it says up here, it's gonna be show all, and I could switch back and forth relatively quickly. This is the account that I'm dealing with. It's no trades. It's pure sim. There's different accounts for different things, but right now I'm just doing the bot sims, so that's where these numbers are coming from. In any event, the trade management that I have is where it comes from, and that's what these numbers represent. Because trade management settings and the trade management itself, the contracts have to be identical. You always tweak little things here and there, but right now it has to be identical. So don't worry about this green, it's something else. But in any event, these are the accounts that I'm dealing with. And every time I write up a new chart, or if you can see this one here, I discontinued this this chart. It just wasn't working out. So I've got a couple more that I want to create, just haven't done it yet. Somebody else gave me another one. I think it was Mimi gave me another one of 15 range, which I need to do. There's only so much time in the day. But that's why I need other people to give me the data. Just put it on sim and let it run. Give me your settings, give me the data, and I'll throw it in here. But I can only do so much. But in any event, so rather than making this too long and boring, I'm only going to show you the markets that are good. So back on our statistics page, it's going to show up here, what the settings are. So without further ado, let's go to our first one, which is 003. And incidentally, if you go back to 003, you can see what it is, but you don't need to because it says it right here. It pulls it in here for us. So this is the NASDAQ 3-minute. There's all your settings. You could, pause it and look at that. But anyway, you can see here it's a negative $1,600, but that's all the riffraff time. If you come over here to session hours, it shows you that time. And this is for December. I can open up and get a bigger one. I only have October, November, and December. But if you pull up November, which was a full month, by the way, it definitely pulls up a nice bigger number. So the question you have to ask yourself is what happened in December? But what's going on? And I've taken these session hours. You could even narrow them down. Surprisingly enough, that I found out that the morning, you got some early morning stuff that's really good, just pre-market. But then right at the opening, for the most part, for the first hour, is not all that great. It's not until you get to about 9:30 that it starts to mellow out. And something to think about. And I don't know if it's a pattern or not because I don't have enough data. But as the months go on and I have bigger and better data, you'll be able to pull it out. But right now, just looking at today's the 12th of December. So yesterday was the 11th, Friday. So let's just turn off November and look at more current data. So needless to say, it's still okay during much. It really loses in the afternoon. I think everybody kind of knows that anyway for this particular chart. So I'm just going to make this quicker. You have an understanding of what it is now. And I'll go to the next one. I'm only showing the good ones. Is number 4. Here's your settings up here. Did it switch? Yeah, yeah, the 3-minute. This is a 14-minute filter. Blah blah blah, and you can see 6 grand on session hours, 3 grand. It loses a lot in after hours and whatnot. And again, you could pretty much wipe out, at least with Nasdaq. I don't know if that's necessarily true with everything else, but you could pretty much knock out that afternoon session and just call it a day. And most people do. 11 o'clock. That's where we get this stuff done. Time for lunch. So you knock out 2 grand right there on that. And these are all on 2 contracts, by the way. Again, you have to keep the settings the same, and that means trade management. And actually, I should put trade management up here too. Now that you mention it, I should add that in the disclaimer because that is part of the setting. Okay, so anyway, moving right along. The next one is 18. And that is, I believe, the silver. Surprisingly to me, I knocked my socks off when I saw this. Get rid of the afternoon session, doesn't do anything. But again, this is pretty good. Let's see what happens if I add November into it. Still pretty good. I don't know what happened in November. You know what? In November, I don't know if I had it on all the. I guess I had it sometime on all the way. But needless to say, things happen, and without diving into it, you can rack yourself crazy with numbers. But all I could say is it's looking pretty good this month. And I wish I just had some different numbers from different people that had the same chart, because if you had silver with these same settings, with these trade management settings, and everything was the same, and I pulled in your data, and it's sim, let it go on sim, whatever. We should be the same. Obviously, there's some slippage. You might miss a trade by a tick, and I might get kicked out by a tick or something like that. But for all in all, if I filter down to the guts of it, we should be pretty much, running consistently. And if we could find a pattern where we're running consistently, then we could say, okay, you tweak yours to a different trade management and maybe throw on the runner, and I'll keep it status quo, and maybe another person just takes 2 off, or maybe tries 3 contracts. And now that we know that our data is the same with the same settings, etc., now we just a matter of playing with trade management. So, but again, I've only got so many computers, and I got 2 computers and 2 data feeds. If I had more time, I would have my whole basement set up with monitors, and I did mega data feeds and turn it into a whole computer room. But then I just get cancer, and I don't want to do that. So in any event, so needless to say, if you're interested in getting sharing data and working on this, just let it run in sim. That's it. Turn it on and let it go. Get some real live data trades. Anyway, all right, so the next one, without further ado, and if you want to dive into this, okay, so since we're looking at silver here, if you want to, what is that, 18? If you go to December, let's dive into December. Turn off that one. Let's go to 18. Okay, so here's the actual data. This is where it gets pulled in from Ninja. Okay, so you get your time, blah, 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 silver, spot, yada, yada, the trade management, it's a paper trade or whatever, yada, 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 comes over here. And if you look at this, which I thought was very interesting, you don't have to care about all this stuff, but if you go over to the MAE, which is the adverse, on average, you're looking at $400 drawdown against you. I found that very shocking. Thought that was pretty good. That's a pretty good gain for a little bit of risk, but those are the kind of things you can kind of dive into. All right, and I think that was it, right? Just 3, and there's a couple others, and there's some I'm going to discontinue. There's one for sure I'm going to discontinue because it's crazy. But those were the 3 that were my best. So let's see, I get to show all. Now, it doesn't matter. When I show all like that, it doesn't matter what this individual row says. It's going to show all. So even with November, and I'd like to dive in with that a little bit. We can. Let's go to November. I'd just like to see if there's anything that's sticking out like a sore thumb, like maybe in the middle of the night something didn't get stopped out, and sometimes I've seen naked orders on, but I don't really see anything that sticks out. So these are just trades that, I mean, boom, 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 boom. And December. So anyway, I don't see anything. 1800, 1500. That's a nice trade. What happened there? See, like something like that might have skewed it, only because maybe the target didn't go off and it just kept running overnight. What time was this? I was probably here, 9 o'clock in the morning. I was probably here, so that was probably just a good one. If I had somebody else to compare it to, and if they had the same results on that particular day, then I'd know for sure it's a good trade. But, you know, even taking that out, let's just take it out of the equation. Let's just take off the grade. Let's take it out of the equation, and we're still looking at good numbers. So let me calculate a second. Boom, there's here. Look, all right, so it's 11 grand instead of 14. I can handle that. So anyway, you can kind of see where I just kind of like to have more support. Need more computers, more data, more people to help out. In any event, so there's the stats. And I don't even want to go into the chart candle, the trade candle, because I'd have to filter it all down and all that. This is a whole month, too much data. That's for another day. I'm not doing that here. So anyway, that's pretty much about it. And I'll keep this short as promised, and I should be done. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.